Afternoon. Our lecture today is an introduction to our course, Creative Writing course. This is the book Inspired to Write. This is an advanced writing course. It is also related to literature. So it's both writing and literature. The objective of the course: to think critically and to write a scholar essay, to invent stories in which you write a plot full of struggles, conflicts, secondary, central characters, point of view, who tells the story from which perspective, the setting is related to both time and place. So to think and write critically. So what is creative writing? It expresses the writer's thoughts. The writer has something to share, has an experience, useful and valuable. He wants to share his feelings and emotions. So he writes a story within a logical progression of events, sequence of events. That metaphorically tells us about the writer's inner working, why he wants to write, how he can communicate his ideas, how he can share his experiences. What is fiction? Fiction includes any imaginary events. It could be a song, it could be a movie, it could be a short story, it could be a play, it could be a drama. So it could be both prose and verse. Types of fiction. We have historical fiction, traditional literature, science fiction, mystery, realistic, fantasy. Why we study literature? Why literature is appealing? How can we define literature? Actually, there is no one clear-cut definition of literature. Any one of us can invent his own definition of literature. Romanticism has its own definition. Classicism has its own definition. Realism has its own definition. Anyone can define literature from his own points of view. But I find that this is a short, exclusive definition. It's the best expression. Literature or fiction is the best expression of the best thought. Good to tell people about, you have to put it in a good form. So literature, for me, to study literature as technique. It is not only what to say, it's how to say. What is art? It is the study of the beautiful, the rhetoric aspects of affection. So literature is appealing for many reasons. First, it mirrors our social, historical, and cultural. It's a dramatization and a translation of our own reality and problems. It teaches us to be humane, to have emotional and intellectual growth, to sympathize, to have the power to show pity. And the most important feature of literature, it's its permanent quality. Literature or fiction or art never dies. Between academic writing and creative writing. Academic writing, we have types of essays: expository, persuasive, argumentative. But in creative writing, the focus is on autobiography, biography, to write a story, to analyze a poem. So we have to differentiate between two things. First, what are the elements of a short story? Second, what are the poetic techniques of a short story? Elements of fiction: plot, sequence of events. Plot contains conflict, contains struggle. We have maybe chronological plot, logical sequence of events, or foreshadowing, or flashback. We have theme, the central idea. What is the message of the fiction or the story? Dialogue between the characters. The tone, is it sarcastic, is it realistic, is it fanciful? We have characters, types of characters: flat characters, round characters, setting, place and time, point of view, who tells it the story. Poetic techniques or literary devices, sensory have to find out the 5 senses when you analyze a poem or a short story. Simple and metaphor. And how can you differentiate between simple and metaphor? Symbolism, allusion, irony, personification. So we have to integrate both. When you tell us about the theme of a short story, you have to be, it has to be integrated with the literary devices. So plot, as I said before, sequence of events. Expository, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. To have a good plot, to write a good plot, you should show and display a conflict, suspense, excitement. So what we mean by conflict? Opposing forces. Character versus character. Character versus society. Character versus the self. So types of conflict. Internal conflict. Character versus the self. External conflict, character versus society, or character versus another character. Character versus natural forces, as in Robinson Crusoe. So, the plot could be chronological, logical sequence of events, or flashback, or foreshadowing. Flashback, reviewing past events, foreshadowing, giving hints about future events. Foreshadowing events that will occur later in the narrative, will happen later. Flashback, reviewing the past. This is the traditional diagram of the plot. We start with exposition, then rising action 1, rising action 2, rising action 3, maybe rising action 5, 6 till 9, 10, whatsoever the rising action, till we reaches the climax. The climax in the intense moment, the peak of event, the peak of the struggle. Then falling action till we reach the resolution. It could be tragic ending, it could be happy ending. So in the exam, I'll ask you to draw a diagram of a popular short story in your culture. I don't like to narrate. I like you to fill in this diagram in such a way. This is our first assignment. About characters, we have types of characters. Characters could be animals, could be imaginary. When I ask you to draw a character sketch, I mean character analysis. Character analysis includes physical description of the character and the inner traits, inner personality. So you have to show me the feelings, the thoughts, the inner struggle, as well as the physical outer appearance. We have round and dynamic characters, stand in contrast to flat and static character. Round and dynamic character achieves moral growth throughout the whole narrative. We have central character, the protagonist, and the secondary characters. Protagonist, the main character, in contrast to the antagonist, the opposing force, the enemy. This is a diagram that helps us to make a character sketch. We have another one. Narrator. Who tells the story? Which voice is predominant? Which angle of vision? Is it the first person narration or the third person narration? Setting. Place and time both. Like Bab al-Hara, like Saraya Abdin. We have here the setting is the protagonist itself. It's the central action. diagrams to describe and evaluate setting in a narrative. This is a form. This is another form. How is the setting looks like? How is the setting sounds like? How is the setting smells like? How is the setting feels like? You see sensory details related to our five senses. Dialogue. It's a conversation between two characters or more. We can have mono-dialogue. One character on stage addressing the audience, having a conflict, tell us about his inner feelings and inner mood. The mood of the writer, is it sarcastic, realistic, fantastical? So I mean by the voice, the style of the writer, the flavor, to draw our attention towards his narrative. So, what should I be able to do? First, to identify the literary devices and integrate them within the elements of plot. Second, to describe the author's technique and how far the reader is interested in such a technique and how the reader is involved emotionally and intellectually. And the final stage, you write a piece of writing that is an echo or mirroring the literary devices that's integrated within the central theme and how the reader is involved and engaged. And poetic devices, again, is very important. So, our course, creative writing, for me, I treat language as technique. What we mean by literary, according to the formalist literary school, it is not what to say, it's how to say. It's more important to have the focus and the emphasis on the author's techniques. For example, the author can manipulate sensory details to highlight and underscore his theme. Sight, taste, sound, touch, our five senses. These are examples about each sense. This is a famous quote by Joseph Conrad, a novelist, in which he highlights the importance of sensory details to paint a picture in the reader's mind, to help him to visualize mentally the story. My task is by the power of the written word to make you hear, to make you feel. It's before all to make you see, to see the technique. So the aim of the purpose of the sensory language is to paint a picture in the reader's mind. For example, snowfall. Snowfall is interpreted in 5 ways within the 5 senses. Looks like the stuffing in pillows, sounds like loud crunching, tastes like cold cotton candy, feels like an ice cream soothing, smells like sweet, clean egg. So we have verbs and adjectives related to the sight: sunny, rainbow, deformed, flesh, and shiny. Examples. You can add more. Examples of words and expressions related to the sense of sound, sense of hearing: shout, whisper, roar, rattle, whistle. To describe the sense of smelling: musty, fresh, rotten. You can add more. Taste: sweet, burnt, buttery, salty, warm, and tangy. Touch and feeling: wet, fuzzy, rough, warm, cold. So, why sensory details is very important? Because it is to show, not to tell. To show me the feelings, to show me the thoughts, to show me the action, not to tell me in a direct way. The purpose of the sensory details is to tell me about the story, the main theme, the main idea, in a metaphorical, symbolic way, not in a direct way. This is a very good example to show us the difference between to show and to tell. We have a character, he is fearful, petrified, is full of fear. I want to show, to illustrate this fear metaphorically within the five senses. His eyebrows crunched down and his teeth chattered. To tell is to tell in a direct way, he looked petrified. No description, no illustration, no use of any techniques or any symbols or any imagery. Body. His body was shaking and he pulled his arms close. This is to show. On the other hand, to tell he was petrified. No description at all. No illustration to help the reader to visualize the character's actions and inner feelings. The voice. He spoke in a slow, cracky voice. His voice sounded petrified. So this is a good illustration to show us the difference between to show action, to show physical appearance, to show inner feelings, and instead to tell directly about them. So the main aim of a writer when he writes a story to help me as a reader to visualize, to be engaged emotionally and intellectually. This is an attempt to show the good writing and the bad writing. This is in red, the good writing, full of description, imagery, symbols, sensory details, while the one in blue is straight, direct, lack of symbols, lack of metaphors. So the one in red is a good writing, while the one in blue is a normal, straightforward writing. How to integrate sensory detail in writing? This is a problem for most of the students. You have to ask yourself what you see, what do you hear, what do you feel, and what you taste. When you read a short story or watch a movie or recite a poem, you have to ask yourself these questions. To help you to pick out and find out expressions, adjectives related to the five senses, this table is very useful for you. For the sight, we have brilliant, gloomy, shadowy. For the sound, we have hiss, mumble, rant, squeal, remember. For touch, we have dusty, fluffy, slippery. For taste, we have creamy, rotten. For smell, we have foul, spicy, sweet, musty. All these can help you to identify the sensory detail. An activity or an assignment, choose a picture of your own, choose a picture and then write a critical appreciation about this picture. So you can write about aliens, describe the spaceship. You can write about a person in your family, but draw a character sketch metaphorically. Description, describe your dream holiday. A wicked witch captures you. You are a character in a fairy tale. If I imagine a situation, you have to use the second conditional if. If I were a cup of tea, I would. If I were a fairy tale character, I would be Cinderella, for example. If I would be an ancient movie, I would. This is the grammatical rule for imaginary situation. Second conditional if for imaginary situation. Sound especially are found in poems. Alliteration, rhyme, rhythm, repetition. We have internal rhyme, we have external rhyme. Tick-tock, tick-tock, echoing the natural sounds in our surroundings. Boom, bang, crack, smash, crunch. Figurative language, similes. In simile, we use personification is to give human attributes to objects and animals. Examples now. So personification. When I say the moon is dancing, the moon is personified as joyfully. Winter has icy fingers. So winter is personified as a person whose fingers are icy, look like ice. When a non-living object has been given qualities of a person, this is personification. The moon danced on the water, the wind is whispered through the trees, the wind and the moon are personified as human beings. So simile, as I said before, we use as is. My love for you is like a red rose. My love for you is as a red rose. In metaphor, no use of as or no use of like. All the word is a stage. ما العالم إلا مسرح كبير. An idiom, it's a proverb. Easy as pie. دي سهلة جدا. Curiosity kills the cat. It's an idiomatic expression to turn a blind eye to something and to ignore something. This is a very short poem. It could be an activity practice. Peace by Starfields. I want you now to underscore and underline the poetic devices and how these poetic devices are integrated into the central theme as communicated by the poet. Exaggeration. Exaggeration means larger than life. The books weigh a ton. I could sleep for a year. This is exaggeration. Example. The dove is a symbol of peace, but according to dictionary, it's a type of bird. The flag, according to the dictionary, is a piece of cloth, but symbolically and metaphorically, it's a reflection of our identity, patriotism. So in symbol, we have surface level of meaning and underlying surface of metaphorical one. So this is a very symbolic and metaphorical visual. This is a girl. She is drawing herself from the back, and we have the statement in an exact style. The statement is, who are you meant to be? This line in an exact style is a reflection of her mental turmoil, her inner mental confusion. She gives us her back and drawing herself. Maybe she suffers from identity crisis. She has a red hair. This makes her a different female protagonist. So we have to ask ourselves, this is an abstract background. We have birds. So you can write an essay to describe the feelings and the inner thoughts of such poor girl. From where I know that she has mental disorder from the way, the style of this statement. It's not straight, it's exact. This is a quote about liberation freedom. You can comment on printed quotes. You can write an essay or an empty paragraph on printed quotes by famous celebrities. This is an example written by Alan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary. You hear the internal rhyme, weary, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore, nevermore. The poet here crafts a story of longing and desolation. The poem reads like a tale containing a proper beginning, middle, and end. It has narrative elements like characterization, samples, plot elements, and resolution. All these elements make it very dramatic. We have another example by Oscar Wilde. This is a very descriptive paragraph about nature. We have bees, we have summer, we have wind, we have roses. This is a good example of descriptive writing styles. The author gives visualization, feelings, and description of a location, of a setting, place, and time that would be seen and heard. Sensory details, full of sensory details. And the third example by the famous Emily Dickinson. It's very touchy and moving lines. A drop fell on the apple tree, another on the roof, and made the gobbles laugh and breezes brought dejected roots, and patted them in the glee and signed the fit away. An example of descriptive style, we have rainstorm, we have beautiful images that help the reader to visualize the whole scene. For the final exam, I can ask you to write about fantasy writing, sci-fi writing, dystopian writing, romance writing, and horror writing. So we have to have an assignment for each one of these types. This is a famous quote by Macbeth when he's about to die and he knows that he's going to lose his life. Life is but a walking shadow, and a poor player that struts and ferrets his hour upon the stage. Stage is metaphor of our life, and a poor player is the man, the human being. So life is a stage, and the human being is a player, is an agent living in this stage. And then it's heard no more. It's a tale. Life is a big tale. Told by an idiot here refers to man, full of sound and fury, anger, signifying nothing. Life at the end is meaningless. This is a very pessimistic quote by Macbeth when he is going to die at the end of drama. So what is the role of the teacher? To choose an interesting topic that can capture all the senses of the students, to give them the chance to rewrite, including their own personal feelings and experiences, and to have a very supporting climate for such creative writing course. Thank you.